Hi, I'm Mark Gaylor. I'd like to take the opportunity to talk you through my choice for computer monitors. Now, if you're like me, you've got the best quality camera you can get your hands on. This one has a full frame sensor with 42.4 megapixels, and when I'm out in the field I will review the images on my MacBook Air that I have here. This MacBook Air is currently hooked up to this BenQ SW271 monitor. Now, I would be crazy once I've got the images home to carry on using this laptop monitor, to be honest. The report card for a monitor like this would read something like "could do better," whereas if you're really wanting your report card to have a couple of gold stars on it, you are going to invest in a monitor like this. Now, why is this BenQ SW271 so much better? Well, for the price, it's excellent bang for buck. It's a real pro quality monitor with pro quality features, and the 4K resolution probably is the thing you're going to notice most. There's less than 2 megapixels on my laptop screen, and when I'm reviewing 42.4 megapixel files, I really want to be able to see how much detail I've captured really quickly. And when I zoom in and basically check sharpness on, say, this frog's eye, I want to be able to do that with absolute confidence that the image is pin sharp before I go off to print. As well as that 4K resolution, I'm working with 99% of the Adobe RGB color gamut. Now, basically what that means is it's much bigger than a typical color gamut on a low-end monitor, which is typically around the sRGB. Now, that extra color gamut is going to be able to see much richer colors on the screen, and I'll be able to see rich texture and detail in those colors because they're not being clipped by the limited sRGB color gamut. Okay, so gamut, resolution, there's more. 10-bit bit depth of these monitors allows me to calibrate and profile with confidence. It's also a hardware calibration on these pro quality monitors, which give you the most accurate profiles that you can get, industry standard profiles. And so this monitor is giving me all three of those important areas that I'd be looking for in a pro quality monitor. I've also got the HUD attached, that is optional, but if you've got any stray lights around your studio, maybe from neighboring windows or overhead lights, this is going to keep the colors very faithful on the screen. It's very quickly detachable if that's not something you want to work with. Going back to that subject of profiling, if the outer box profile is so much more accurate than, say, an Apple profile, the monitors basically tend to ship way too bright and way too cool. These profiles for these BenQ monitors, which are really being designed, the SW271 is really designed for photographers. The profile is much more accurate and lends itself for photographers who are wanting to go both to the web but also to print. And the BenQ monitors also have this little puck here that I'm using. Now, I've assigned a profile to number 1 that I can quite quickly work with when sending and preparing images to print. But if I really wanted to see what my images would look like on social media with somebody with a Mac monitor where the luminance is really on its brightest setting, I might just hit that number 2 profile. That will lower the color gamut closer to sRGB and raise the luminance. And I can just toggle through those very quickly without having to reprofile. I've also assigned a black and white preview to number 3 without actually having to do any editing, just to see whether that image might be something that I might choose to edit in black and white. You can reassign different profiles for these. The monitor is also capable of HDR, so if you were to hook this up to a 4K Blu-ray player that was capable of playing HDR movies, this also supports that. Okay, I'll just drop that back to my favorite profile, which is that one preparing for print. Okay, so if you're wanting to go that last extra 1 or 2% to get a really accurate profile that you have absolute confidence in, then I would probably also invest in a profiling calibration device. This one is made by X-Rite. It's the i1 Display Pro. This one will just basically sit on your monitor screen while the software goes through its business and creates that super accurate profile. It'll basically hang through a little trap door in this in this shield here, sit on the monitor, and then a few minutes later it creates and starts using that profile, and it'll ask whether you want to assign that to 1, 2 or 3. So what I would do is I would encourage you to consider maybe thinking about not just your computer and not just your camera, but also the monitor you're reviewing your images. I think it really makes sense to complete that workflow with the best quality monitor that you can afford as well. Now, if you need additional support to walk you through this process of making this decision, the company I've chosen in Australia is a company called Image Science. They're based in Melbourne, but you can find them online, imagescience.com.au. They've got a very knowledgeable staff about the hardware, about color management, about profiling, and once you invest and you make the purchase through these, you're basically also buying a lifetime support through this company. Okay, so as I said, this is a BenQ SW271, and this was my personal choice for my workflow. Okay, so I'll catch you online. If you've got any questions about this monitor, if you don't send them to Image Science, just drop them down in the forum below, and I'll see if I can get back to you. Cheers.